Welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'll be showing you guys how to make this senator pocket design. It's a pattern pocket, and the person that requested for this tutorial has been on my neck. I've been very busy lately, that's why I've not been uploading, but today let's do this. So welcome back to the Sewing Workshop, a place where billion-dollar brands come to get inspired. If you're here to smash the like button and subscribe to this channel, you are missing on the long term. So this is the fabric I'll be using. This is the background fabric. The orange you're seeing on the design, I'll be using usually on this one. So I cut this at the wideness of 7 inches and the height is 9 inches. I just cut it as an SS. I'm still going to like trim it out. I just cut an SS. So I want you guys to pay attention here. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is on the fabric, the main pocket design itself is going to be a wideness of 4.5 inches. The main pocket size. And the height of the pocket is going to be 5.5 inches, right? So so that we're going to be able to fold each of the sides, right? So I'm going to cut an interfacing that is going to be exactly the pocket shape that we want, right? So whichever shape you want to cut, you can simply cut it. But this is what the shape I'll be using will look like. You can see that. So I'm cutting 4.5 wideness on this one, and the height is 5.5 inches wideness. You can see that. So what I'll be doing now is I'm going to simply get the wrong side of your fabric and the right side. So this is my wrong side. So I'm going to be using this. The gum part of your interfacing is what I'll be using. And I'm just going to like stick it to my fabric and simply iron it down. This is what we're going to be using for the design itself. You can see that. After gumming it, you see what we have. I'm going to fold the edges before we start cutting out our pattern. So I want you guys to pay attention to this. I do believe that you guys can do a lot better job than I did. You guys are very smart. So just pay attention to the process so you can actually apply your own technique and get your own knowledge from it. So just fold each of the angles, fold the pocket and get the angles of your accurate pocket measurements, right? Fold the side also. You can see that. You can see that. Just in case you are interested in our private class, a link will be in the description below where you can actually get our link to the website and a link to our Telegram where we do our private classes. So just click the link in the description below there. So after folding your pockets, you can see, make sure it is aligned very well and you're getting the accurate shape of your pocket. You can see what I have. So this is what my pocket is going to look like. You see that? So the next thing we are going to cut now is simply the pattern shape. So I'll be using this fabric for the pattern shape itself. So I'm just going to place it like this. You can see that. Now I'm going to cut the exact pocket angle, but it's not going to be exact. It's going to be like, so I will advise you when you're cutting this, because I faced some mistake while I was actually doing this. So you have to cut this an excess of like 1.5 inches longer. I'm going to cut this at 1 inches, 1.5 inches minimum, like bigger than your pocket. Whatsoever you're cutting here, make sure it's 1.5 inches bigger, like bigger than your main pocket itself. So you can see that. So I'm just going to cut this exact shape, 1.5 inches larger. This one I'm cutting now is 1 inch actually. You can see that. You can see what I'm doing. Can see that. So just cut that shape out. Whatsoever you're cutting, make sure it's larger than your pocket itself, right? Because we still have to like fold something inside. So I believe what I cut here is actually, it's okay, but if I'm doing it again, I'll be cutting something bigger than what I cut here, right? So after cutting it, all you have to do is to apply an interfacing to your fabric, which is the pattern fabric, right? Get the wrong and the right side of the fabric. And I'll be using a very soft interfacing, a very soft interfacing. We call this chest gum, right? We call this chest gum, and I've used it in several of our videos. You can see it's very light, right? So I'll be using it on the fabric itself. So apply your interfacing, then after we can simply cut all our pattern and we can transfer the pattern to our pocket. So I want you guys to pay attention here. You can see that. So just place it right here and simply gum your interfacing. And after that, this is what we're going to be having. So trim out all the excess on the side of the interfacing. And now to cut the pattern, right, which is the most tricky part, I'm going to get the center point of my pocket. So just fold this and iron it. You can see that. Fold it and iron it. And also to get the center point, you have to fold the other side also, just like that, and simply iron it. You can see that. After ironing, so from the center part, right, based on the design we want to cut, I'm going to mark like a 4 corner on the center part. So I'm going to mark it. It's not going to be straight. It's going to be like this. You can see I'm taking it from both center parts of the angle. You can see. So I mark this at a total of 1.5 because it's going to be at the center part, right? Just pay attention. So here also I'm going to cut the same thing, which is going to be like 1/4. I'm going to mark 1/4 here. You can see that that's the wideness, and I'm going to connect them together, just a straight line. You can actually use this particular design we are doing to make any other design. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm doing here, but we're going to get a very, very close result, right? You can see that. You can see what I'm doing. So after I get that, the next thing we need to do now is to draw our pattern. But the pattern is going to simply be at the sides of the design itself, right? So we're going to sketch out each of the pattern in which we're going to be using. So now the first pattern is going to be on the side, right? So pay attention here. The pattern is going to come from the top of the pocket, and it's going to pass the side of our first angle that we draw. You can see that. And it's going to simply close at that angle also. Exactly at that angle. We're going to close it. You can see that. That's what the pattern is going to look like. You can see. Also from here, we're going to draw another pattern from the side. You can see that. And here is going to end at this place. So all of the opening are the one that are going to reflect our yellow fabric, which is going to be from the under part, right? I believe you guys are enjoying the tutorial. If you like the video so far, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you subscribe if you are yet. Why have you not subscribed? Like, bro, what's going on? So you're going to close that pattern also at that side. You can see what we have. So now we have 4 patterns separately. So at this last side, you're going to also draw the pattern right this. You can see that. You're going to simply place it right here. So if you're doing any design that has like a reflective of a shadow, this is the kind of thing, like this is the kind of processing which you're going to follow in order to get the pattern. So you can see this. The next thing we're going to do now is to simply cut out each of the pattern. And while you're cutting out each of the pattern, make sure you understand where each of the pattern are going to be. This one that I'm cutting right now is going to be at the down part of the pocket, right? At the down part of the pocket. So I'm going to simply cut it out. So you see the part in which I cut out, right? That's the part in which I'm going to fold. So I'm going to mark that corner, you see? And I'm going to, that part I'm going to mark it. And here also I'm going to mark it. So that's the part in which I'm going to fold with iron before I will stitch it to my pocket itself. So after cutting that one, I'm going to simply cut all of the pattern. You just have to cut all of the pattern. You can see that. This tiny one that we cut out is the reflective, is the one that's going to reflect the shadow underneath it, right? You can see that. So I'm going to mark those sides, just those 2 corners that I'll be folding. So the one that's going to be down, you just have to place them one after the other. The exact way they're going to be. I'm still going to arrange them. You can see this how it's going to look like. You can see that. You can see what I have here. You can see that. That's the type of reflective in which you're going to like generate at the center part. I believe you guys are seeing that. So here also, this pattern, I'm going to call this one out also. You can see that. You can see that. So this one is going to be, just mark those sides in which I'm going to fold. You can see this one is going to be here also. Now I have to close the reflective. You can see. You can see that. And here, which is the last one, I'm going to also cut it. You can see that. This corner also. You can see that, how beautiful that is. We are almost like getting our result in which we want. So when I place this also here, you can see what I'm having. But there is an angle in between the design itself. You can see there is something that will actually be the guide to all of our designing, which we reflect all the things which we want to reflect. So now I'm simply going to cut that one also out. You can see that. So this is the one that will be at the center part, and all of the other design are going to simply follow up with the side. You can see what this is going to look like. I'm going to take my time to arrange all of this so that you guys can understand. Like, I'm not, okay, it's supposed to be like this. You can see that. Just take your time. You're going to arrange it exactly the way it's supposed to be. You can see what I'm trying to do here. Like, I think I've missed something. So I will just take my time to arrange it and show you guys how it's supposed to be. Because we cut exactly the same thing. That's the issue with patterning. Patterning, like when you're cutting patterns, like it's crazy. Your brain has to be working like back to back. So let me just arrange this. Let me, okay, first I'm going to fold each of the sides that I marked, so that I'm going to arrange it and I'm going to like pin it before we take it to the sewing machine and start the sewing. So from the side, I'm just going to like fold just the tiny pieces of it. You can see what that is going to look like. I just fold the tiny pieces of this. And also the center part, that center one that I'm holding, I already fold the sides also. So now this is what it's going to look like. You can see that. So in order to arrange this is what we're going to like. Okay, let me just take it back. So this center part is going to be like this. You can see the opening is going to be like that. You can see that. That's how it's supposed to open. This one also is going to be here. You can see that. So our reflection is going to be at that side. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. Also, this last one here is going to be like this. So this has to come down a little bit. That's why I asked you guys to cut an excess fabric, so that each of the fabric are going to have an extension that we're going to fold at the side, right? So this one is going to, patterning is crazy job, like it's crazy work. So here also, you can see here, you can see what I'm trying to do. So there has to be a reflect here, reflect from that center part. You can see that. So we have two reflects now, and this is our, this down part, the third reflect, and the upper one, which is the fourth reflect. That's what you're going to be having. So after stitching this all the way down to our fabric, make sure this is actually very open. The one you're doing is supposed to be as closed as possible, but this is just a sample tutorial because of the person that need it. I hope you guys understand this and you can do a better job than I did. I know you guys are good, actually. So now let's stitch this together step by step. So right here, I'm just going to like open it up. So from the first one, which is the center part, is the one we're going to sew first. So make sure you get the center, just like that. I'm going to open up the pocket itself. You can see here. So from here, I'm going to start my stitch. So after that, we're going to use this one we're going to stitch this one also. So I just want to like align the stuff so that I can understand what I'm trying to do. You can see that. So now I just need to align that so that we have something to fold inside. That's why I'm trying to align it before stitching it. Okay. You can see that. You can see that. Okay, I got the center part. So all you have to do now is to start your stitch, and make sure the stitch that you're going to be running is going to be a very, very tiny stitch, right? It's going to be very, very tiny stitch, and it has to be at the edge of the fabric itself. At the very edge of the fabric. That's what will make the beauty of the style to like come out very well. You can see that. You can see what I'm having. You can see, just take your time. You shouldn't rush. These are very, very tiny and sensitive things to sew. So you don't have to rush at all. See, after locking that part, just cut out your thread. You can see what we're having. So underneath, you see what the stitches look like. So the next thing now is to simply trace each of the patterns from the sides to sides. So this is going to simply come like this. On the top, you can see that. Make sure they are close to the center part so that we're going to have a closed opening, right? So that the front is going to close and the down part is going to open. So from that part, make sure it is very close to the center fabric. And I'm just going to like stitch it all the way to the top. If you're enjoying this video so far and you've not smashed the like button, and you're yet to subscribe to the channel, like, all right. What the fuck? Oh man. All right, so just stitch this to the top, just like this. You can see that. Make sure your hand is straight. It's very, very important. And I'm going to simply cut this out. You can see how tiny the stitch is. That's very, very important. And here also, just that excess. Make sure there's nothing showing at the. I'm just going to trim out that part so I can have a smooth stitch at that place. You can see. I want to show you guys the sewing so that you can simply follow along with me and get exactly the same results, or even a better result than I did. You guys are smart. I know you are smart. You that you're watching this video, you are smart. Yeah, all right. So just take your time. Take your time to do all of this. You don't have to rush. You can see that. You can see that. So I will have something at the top to fold inside. See that? So all you have to do is just to follow each of the patterns step by step to do all of it. And after stitching it, this is what I'm going to be. So just take your time and just pattern all of this thing and sew it and follow it step by step. So after stitching it, this is the result in which you're going to be having. Make sure your pattern is actually close to the center part. That's what is going to close your opening. That's very, very important. I'm just basically going to like speed up this process so that you can just follow along. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just speeding it up so that you can see. You can see that. Make sure each of the pattern are like kissing one another so that they can create a close edge and an opening end. You can see that. Stitch that part also. You can see that. So after stitching, this is the result in which we're going to be having. You can see that. So all you have to do now is just to take it to the ironing table, give it a thorough ironing. Make sure you give it a thorough ironing. That's what will bring out the beauty of the design itself. You can see that. And after ironing it, simply turn it inside. Then we can simply fold our pocket itself. Take your time. Just fold the pocket and give it. That's why I asked you guys to add an SS to the fabric. This is just a sample tutorial, but I would believe that you guys are going to understand. So we just simply fold each of the sides. You can see that, and give it a good ironing. You can see, and fold all of your pockets. Take your time with this. It's very important. And fold all of your pockets, and after folding, this is the final results we're going to be having. So basically, this is what your pockets will look like. I believe this yellow opening, the shadow are actually very open. If you want it tiny, you understand what you're supposed to do. So that's about it on this tutorial. If you like the video, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe to the channel. That's about it. If you want to join our intensive classes, the link will be in the description below. See you on another video.